All right, hello, and welcome to another episode of Letters from Camp. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by Tom Guiffree. Tom, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, Mike. Glad to be here.
Happy Festivus to all who celebrate. Um, all right, so start by just getting into your camp story. So, if you could kind of take us through your camp career, camper years, staff years, where you worked, all that kind of stuff.
Sure, it sounds good. So my first year as a camper was 2013 at Camp Winoxet. I went with Troop 13 Pepperell. Um, and yeah, I remember when I was really young, I very much didn't want to go to camp because first time away from the family and all of that type stuff. But to quote my mother, when she came to pick me up on Friday, I had like a bandana on, I had a walking stick, and it looked like I hadn't showered in a few days. So to quote her, I looked like the Lord of the Flies. So yeah, so that was 2013. My troop decided to go to Camp Bell in 2015, but I preferred Winoxet, so I went Provo. And that was fun. I did Provo a couple more times, and then yeah, I was a camper all the way until 2018. 2018, I wanted to go to camp and pretend to be like an adult leader essentially. I didn't sign up for anything. So my scoutmaster just threw me at a cope and wood carving. And at the end of the week, he told me that he asked me why I wasn't working at camp yet. So the next year I applied. And yeah, I started as a transitional staff member over in well, I started as transitional staff in 2019, and then I got moved to the nature den before the year started, and I spent a year there. It was wonderful. Had an absolute blast over there. 50-person mammal study merit badge classes, hiking the mountain. Oh, good things. Um, yeah. Then in 2020, I was hired to be the first person to run the short-lived Nova program, and then COVID hit, so that didn't happen. um, then post-COVID, I was the nature director for 2 years. I was COPE director for a year. Last year was Provo Scoutmaster, and this year um, I was offered to become COPE director again, as well as a part-time Provo Scoutmaster. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so you've definitely been around different areas, so that's good.
Oh yeah.
Now I understand you're also a teacher. Um,
hmm
And so you join a long line of people who've either done that so they could still work in camp or it's a nice benefit. But you kind of take us through like what kind of jobs complement each other.
Yeah, totally. So before I worked at camp, so like 2018, you were starting to look at colleges, things like that, junior and high school. And I was under the total idea that I was going to be an electrical engineer. Um, and then after working at camp, I realized just how much I actually liked teaching people things. So I took that, I took the other hobby I do, which is music, and sort of put them together and created the music teaching career path I'm on now. Excuse me. But the they complement each other very well because you take things from throughout college. I would take things and practices from camp and apply them in my classes and all of the working in schools and things like that. And all of my professors would be like, "Where did you learn to do that?" And I'm like, "Some camp in the middle of New Hampshire." So, but yeah, but it also goes the other way too, where as I was learning how to like actually professionally teach, I would start applying some of that management skills to those 50-person like mammal studies classes and see how I can actually get people under control more. So no, they complement each other very well. Plus teacher have summer off. In my case, I don't get paid for the summer, so it's at least some income for the summer, so it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you teach not far from camp, correct?
No, I teach 20 minutes down the road. So
You ever
Um,
find yourself on like a fall day, just on
oh,
ice, seeing what's going on?
a couple times, yeah. So I'm one of the associate advisors for the OA Lodge. So one of the my favorite things to do is I'll bring my like stuff for a camping trip to work, and then like my kids will ask like, "Can you stay after for like a lesson?" I'm like, "Yeah, I wasn't planning on going home, so because then I'll just go up to camp." But every now and again, I'm at camp for or I'm at work for a little bit longer than anticipated, so I'll go up to camp. I'll grab like a pizza from Athens Pizza or the Pizza Barn. I'll just sit on like the rock wall of the parking lot overlooking the away field and just sort of eat dinner. It's pretty nice. So,
Yeah, that's
oh
great.
yeah.
um, so involved as in the Sea Scout in a Sea Scout ship.
Yes, that's correct.
That's not, as far as I know, a fairly common program in this area. Can you maybe talk a little bit about kind of how that works?
Yeah, totally. So I'm the skipper of Sea Scout Ship 375, Nashua River. It's based out of Groton. And the story behind the ship was um, 2 years ago, me and a bunch of friends were joking that, hey, we should start a Sea Scout ship to get the uniform because the uniform was pretty cool. And it was, it'd be like, well, it's a scouting program. We could wear the uniform in camp. It would be pretty fun. And the more we joked about it, the less it became a joke, the more it became an actual plan. And starting this October, the ship was officially founded. Um, it's essentially the term that I took from the skipper of a ship out in South Hadley was it's essentially a venture crew, but water. So, we'll do canoeing and kayaking based things, especially because we're on a river and, being in the central Massachusetts region, there isn't much to be done for larger boat stuff, but we'll do more canoeing, kayaking type trips. Um, and we're chartered out of the Nashua River Watershed Association, so we also have like an ecology focus. But yeah, we just had a fundraiser where we baked a lot of baked goods up at camp, and no, it went very well. But yeah, so the Sea Scout ship, we are one of two in council. The other one is down in Webster, if I remember correctly. But they're more sailing oriented, like small boat sunfish sailing. So we like to in the future we're working on working with other Sea Scout ships in the area, like the one in Webster. There's one in Stoughton. There's one in Maine. So,
Oh,
but yeah,
cool.
uh, it's a interesting venture, especially because a lot of our adult leadership are like 21, 22, like the recent making the jump out of the eligibility. So, but
That's
yeah,
great.
works out
Yeah.
great.
All right, so let's move into our lightning round questions.
Oh boy.
So, what is your favorite camp song?
So my favorite camp song is gotta be Pizza Man of all songs. Um, I took it from Kush when I was a camper. So Michael Kush. And then I started doing it. I did it at the opening campfire in 2021. And that sort of made it like synonymous with me for the past few years. So it's the song I go to.
I remember Michael Cush bringing that to camp. That was a good one.
Oh yeah.
How about your favorite camp skit?
For a favorite camp skit, I'm gonna have to go with the invisible bench intervention. That one was so funny, and I use it all the time as like a baseline for taking something that people expect and flipping it on its head. So no, easily the invisible bench intervention.
How about your favorite camp meal?
It's certainly a controversial one, but Hunter's chicken. I always loved Hunter's chicken. I know people who hate Hunter's chicken, but Hunter's chicken is certainly my favorite meal.
It is very polarizing for sure.
It is 100%.
How about your favorite place in camp?
Um, So it's a little bit of a weird one where it's on the Macaulay Trail between a climbing tower and the archery range. It's where environmental science does one of their two observation spots. It's a nice little hill, has a small clearing in the trees. It just has a bunch of like really cool details, but especially in the summer camp season, it's just far enough away from everything where it's quiet, but like not too quiet. So I really like that spot personally.
Well, that is unique. You were the first one to use that, so that's good.
Yeah. Although I mean, Chapel Point is 100% a great location. I'm sure that one is a top choice. But
Yes. And is there anyone who, you kind of want to shout out as maybe mentoring you as you were coming up or someone you really looked up to?
yeah, yeah. So the main person who I want to shout out is Jake Marr. So Jake and I are the same age. We grew up together in the scout troop. And when we were going through, we had like this friendly competition going where we would battle to each to see who would get to the next rank first. And personally, without him, I wouldn't have made Eagle, but also without him, I probably would have never decided to work at camp. Because he started working well, he was CIT in 2016. And I just sort of didn't do the CIT thing. I didn't decide to work until like 2018 or 19. So, yeah, I think Jake definitely dragged me into everything, and I'm very glad he did. But yeah, otherwise, because I'm a even though I'm like only 22, I'm still like a younger guy when it comes to being on the senior staff. So I look up to any of the administration really, Andy, Danny, Neville, and Rachel, O'Connell, um, and yeah, when I made the jump from nature to cope as well, I think a big inspiration for me was Annie Souza, who is my climbing director, or that we work together with. Um, Especially because when they originally offered me cope, I told them I don't know how comfortable I am dangling children from rope in the air. So she was definitely a huge help on making sure I could actually do that job.
That's great. Yeah, it's funny as you get older, like sometimes you're needed more in certain areas when you hit a certain age. And
Yeah, I
like,
remember when I was turning 21, they asked me where I want to work, and I just said, well, I don't really want to have kids' lives in my hands. And they went, well, too bad. That's all the positions. So
mhm,
take your pick.
yeah. Um, any other kind of closing thoughts or anything you wanted to mention?
um, I want to thank you, Mike, for asking me on, of course. This is a blast. I always love watching these. So it's fun to actually be on it. And yeah, that's about it.
Great. To all our viewers, thank you definitely for watching. I hope everyone has a healthy and happy holiday season, and we'll see you in 2025 with more episodes of Letters from Camp.
Woohoo! Happy
Thanks,
holidays.
Tom.
Thank you, Mike.